So we are recording this other call, this other presentation of a coaching model of Nazlie Masoet, one of our coaches in training, almost certified. Another interesting and exciting presentation of how you, Nazlie, you see coaching from your side, with your model, but also through the lenses of the ICF approach, because this is why we're here. We are presenting through your training in an accredited program. So I'll give you all the space, and I'm very happy you're here and very excited of your next step, of this next step in your training program.
Thank you so much, Christina. So thank you, everyone. Today, I'd like to present on my coaching model, Climb Your Inner Wisdom coaching model. This I put together quite a while ago, and with the help of Christina, she actually came up with the name. But to go on to the agenda, we can just switch to the next one. So what I'll be taking you through is what inspired my model, about my model, and the steps to climb your inner wisdom coaching model. So what really inspired my model? This happened, this really took me to a place where I was invited to go onto a hiking expedition, of which I'm really not a hiker. And the friend of mine that invited me, she didn't actually pitch, and it was a hike and yoga session, and that's in Cape Town from our beautiful Silver Mines mountain. And as I started going up this mountain, I just, I immediately felt really challenged and thought, gosh, how often do we build mountains in our head? We think about everything that we can't do. And I initially, when we started in the group, and the guide waited for us. But slowly I was on my own. And what resonated most about this for me was that I kept on thinking and pondering of how we often build these mountains in our head, and that we always that I'm always running, me personally, running for friends' advice and guidance. But at the end, I'm needing to make that decision, and it's my mountain to climb. And as we were going forward, it was quite a cloudy day, and when we got to the top, all of the clouds had just dissipated, and that really, it really brought me lots of comfort in terms of where I was, and that my thoughts started just becoming less. And I just thought about, when we started, how anxious I felt, and as we were coming down, it really became less. So that's me on the picture overlooking silver mines in South Africa. And then from there, we then came back and did a bit of a yoga session in which we needed to connect with our hearts. And so when I put the coaching model together, it really made me reflect on this day in terms of how I was feeling, how it brought me to this point in my journey of just having to trust myself. So I then unpacked the coaching model with Christina. I didn't have a name for it at the time, but Christina was great in sort of just taking me through that, and sort of came up with Climb Your Inner with your inner coaching wisdom, and that really made me, I was very excited. We can go on to the next one. So about my model, the ICF defines coaching as partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional professional potential. These words, partnering, thought-provoking, and maximizing potential, are the basis for differentiating professional coaching from any other forms of support. My coaching model, Climb Your Inner Wisdom, was inspired by the ICF standard, of which I wanted to demonstrate how I was able to use the Climb Your Inner Wisdom coaching model as a framework during the coaching partnership to support clients through the process of identifying where they currently are to where they'd like to be by tapping into their inner wisdom. So what does it mean to tap into your inner wisdom? Our inner wisdom can often be described as our internal radio that we need to turn into. The tune in we are required to present our trusting our inner voice, letting go of limiting and beliefs and perceptions, and becoming fully aware of who we are, what we are feeling, and where we'd like to be. And sometimes we're not tuned into it correctly, and these messages often get mixed up. And we run from place to place, and I've definitely found myself in that position where I don't almost just trust myself. So what this means for the client is to move towards achieving, to move towards achieving their goal. They would not only use their head wisdom, but to bring their whole selves, which includes their heart and gut wisdom too. So let me ask you a question. How do you strike a balance between using your head and your heart in situations? I don't know if anyone would like to just take a stab at that. What is the process that you normally would follow when you are trying to think about having to resolve an issue or just having to make a decision? Anyone? What happens for you?
I think for me, when I need to make a decision, I try to map out all of the different options available to me. Once I have those laid out, then I look into what I've maybe done in the past, what has worked well for me, or what maybe I've learned if I don't want to do something again. And then I think the third step is I reach out to trusted resources, people who know me well. If it's a work-related issue, maybe my manager or colleague who I trust, and kind of work through the different options.
Awesome. Thank you, Eileen. And what I heard was that there was lots of thinking and processing. And in our culture, we live from the neck up, always thinking, analyzing. We don't often stop and slow down and actually check, how am I actually feeling? I'm sure you have found yourself, I know I found myself always thinking, and what is my options and what's the next step? How do I resolve this? So our brains are designed to be tools for reasoning and logic. And while we're using thinking for creating context and analyzing situations, it can always be limited by negative experiences and fears. What I've recently learned in another course that I was doing is that our brains are divided into left and right brain. And often our left side, which is our thinking brain, which is often also used as a form of protection, it's for analysis. But on our right side, it is the part of the brain that provides opportunities for expression, for innovation, for just digging in a little bit deeper. Our brains are designed to keep us alert to threat. Psychologists refers this to as a negative bias, and it causes us to focus on one bad thing in a mountain of good things. So inner wisdom during the coaching process refers to a person's innate capacity to access their deep knowledge, insights, and intuition to make decisions and solve problems or challenges. The client would therefore need to be open to introspection and willing to explore those thoughts, feelings, and behaviors to gain insights and make positive changes. It also means bringing in the whole body to experience paying attention to raise sensitivity in the body, for example, tightening of the chest, anxiety levels, good and not so good sensations. I'm going to move on to slide 5, which will explore my coaching model. So the climb that I'm looking at, and as you can see, it's going up. The Climb Your Inner Wisdom coaching model will be used to partner with a client when he or she is wanting to set an intention or goal. Each step is crafted to facilitate awareness and clarity, allowing him or her to move towards the personal vision they've set for themselves. There are 5 steps during this climb, which is in the Inner Wisdom model, which is number 1, contracting. Lean in, imagine, mapping out the process, and believe through commitment to action. These steps will be explored through observation, both verbal and nonverbal, creative questioning, and active listening. With every step, I will make reference to the 3 wisdom areas and ICF competencies. And as a coach, I'm committed to upholding the ICF standards principles, embodying the organization's values of integrity, professionalism, and ethic conduct. So for the first step, going on to slide 6, I will look at contracting. Contracting is one of the most important steps in establishing that coaching engagement and building trust. This contract is a mutual agreement that helps to create a structured and supportive environment for the client to access and utilize the inner wisdom effectively during the coaching journey. This supportive environment will also allow the client's inner wisdom to emerge from the beginning and may guide the creation of the results they want. As I mentioned earlier, it's about ensuring that there's this trusting environment for the client to tap into their right brain so that they feel safe, they could start exploring and come up with their own knowing about where they'd like to go. The inner wisdom is something we all have. This inner wisdom is a guide, decision-making, problem-solving, and it's used for personal growth. So one of the highest forms of partnership a coach can establish with a client is by facilitating this connection of inner wisdom. It's really about creating the supportive and non-judgmental space for the client to explore their beliefs, values, and intuitive insights. So what I've done, and I've added to each of the steps, is adding 3 questions to explore the head wisdom, the heart, and the gut wisdom. So here are 3 of the questions that you can add during the first phase of the contracting phase, or the first step of the climb model. So with the head wisdom, what is the goal you want to achieve? As part of the heart wisdom, at the end of the session, what are the emotions you'd like to feel related to the goal you have crafted for yourself? As part of the gut wisdom, you could explore what is your gut saying in relation to how this goal resonates with your core values. And this allows the coach to ask questions and for the client to really dig in deep, and as part of that contracting phase, to start exploring what is it that I want and where am I going. From here, the client will reflect on what they need in order to take the next step. Going on into slide 7, which is lean in. For me, this one of the steps that I really almost put a lot of myself in. And the second step, the coach partners with the client to lean into themselves by offering questions related to how they perceive themselves in the world. What does this climbing the inner wisdom mountain feel like? What is holding them back? So leaning into the inner wisdom for the client involves actively engaging and trusting their insights and intuition. And to facilitate this, the coach needs to create that safe and non-judgmental space, ask powerful questions, and actively listen, be empathetic, show presence, and mirror back what the client is saying, using the questions to evoke that awareness. This is a very important step as the coach listens and leans into all the client is offering through what the client is verbally saying, as well as paying attention to non-verbal cues. The 3 questions I've offered as part of the lean in process, and going back to the 3 wisdom areas, is what thoughts are arising when discussing this topic. As part of the heart wisdom, as you're leaning in and feeling the sensations of your heart, what new talents and resources is this challenging asking you to apply? Gut wisdom, what is your gut telling you when you're envisioning, fully embracing and utilizing your talents? So it really allows the client to dig in deep and really lean into themselves. Moving on to the next step, which is imagine. So now the client is on the next step, and they've leaned in, and they're starting to feel comfortable. They're starting to trust themselves. The coach has offered the relevant or the questions to evoke the thought processes. They start imagining. So what if? So the client then connects with their inner knowing, and they explore their thoughts, emotions, awareness, and self-reflections, linked to their desired state as well as obstacles holding them back. They start looking forward to take that next step, which is to imagine and explore the possibilities available to start creating this desired future, as well as feeling the feelings associated with creating this desired future. The coach's role is really to hold the space for the client, for imagining to take for imagination to take place. The space is created through active listening, again offering powerful questions and exploring the client's values and passions, evoking awareness to a new expanded way of thinking and feeling, and imagining all possibilities. This third step is a powerful process as the client taps into the really feeling and exploring what they envision for themselves. What are the thoughts and sensations and emotions telling the client about the goal they've set for themselves? And the 3 questions I've offered during this step is of imagine is what is your learning from your inner wisdom as part of a head wisdom question? As part of the heart, what is your heart saying about your thoughts? And as part of the gut wisdom, what does your inner wisdom say according to the next steps you wish to take? So now the client has started imagining all their possibilities. There's more trust, they're exploring, they're imagining, and there's a creative sense of, I can do this. From here, we go into the next step, which is the 4th step of mapping out the process. The coach partners with the client to reflect back on what they've learned about themselves using the inner wisdom, as well as learning towards what they wanted to achieve from the session. The client is also invited to reflect on how they will use these learnings before crafting an action plan. This allows for clearer possibility as actions are crafted with a deeper connection to their inner being. And the 3 questions that I've offered here in the 4th step as part of the head wisdom is, going back to what you wanted to achieve today, where do you think you are right now? So it allows the client to reflect back. From a heart wisdom, what are the new insights about yourself have you learned from the session today? And the gut wisdom question is, how would you use your intuition into your decision making moving forward? This, I think, is very important as we start to almost recreate those pathways, those neural pathways of possibility. And then we move on to the last step, which is belief and commitment to action. This is the last step in the process to solidify what the client has set out to reaching their desired future. The coach partners with the client to design the best way forward with regards to thinking, reflection, or action. The coach shows support and offers questions to the client to further connect with their inner wisdom around how and when the client would be ready to start resources and support they require, potential barriers that may take the client away from the path. And this is the last step to the climb. The client once again taps into their inner wisdom to explore all the last feelings and thought around this actions they've committed to. And the questions that I've offered as part of tuning into the 3 wisdom areas is, from a head wisdom, what are the resources, tools, and support you will need to fulfill your goal? Your heart wisdom, how can you create a heartfelt commitment to yourself that will allow you to follow through on the actions you've identified as important? And then a gut wisdom question is, what does your intuition tell you about the actions you want to put in place? From here, the coach celebrates the client for bringing their whole selves into the coaching process and celebrating the learnings and progress. So in closing, the Climb Your Inner Coaching Wisdom model has both benefits to both the coach and the client. For the coach, it allows the coach to develop a deeper connection with the client as they explore emotions, values, beliefs, talents together, fostering empathy and trust. For the client, it encourages the client to tap into the inner wisdom to foster self-awareness. The client, for the client, they learn to trust their own instincts and intuition, trusting themselves in terms of their own decisions, having to tap into their whole bodies and bringing their complete selves. The client is also more committed to sustain and follow through on these actions as it's aligned to their inner wisdom and values. The client can use this model beyond the coaching session as well, encouraging continuous personal growth and development, as it will also help clients to make choices that is aligned with their true selves. On my last slide, I had quite a cute, I'm not sure if Christine is able to play. I don't know if the sound will come through, but it's a cute video of actually one of the cartoon characters that's wanting to walk a bridge, and he says, but I can't. Maybe Christine, if you can play it. I don't know if there's sound. You could hear the sound. It's such a great video. I don't know how to, but he's saying, but if you believe and you really commit to this, you'll be able to take that walk alongside the bridge. And eventually, when he really believes and really trusts his inner belief, he does it without actually having any support. And he's able to actually walk this thin line or this thin bridge going across. So that really brought it together for me. So working on this coaching model, I think what really resonated for me and working through it was the deep trust that one needs to have when we working with both our clients, and then also for our clients to trust us as well. I'll see maybe if I could share it with sound from my side.
You can't hear the sound.
Sorry?
Can you hear the sound?
No, they can't hear. So let me,
Maybe.
if I could, I don't know if I could, let's try if I could hopefully share it from my side and
as I share with
the
you,
sound.
the important thing is what you share, is not the video.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
would like you to complete and to have this closing of this presentation with what is very important for you.
Okay. So thank you, everyone. As I mentioned at the beginning of the coaching session, or when I presented my model, climbing into that deeper inner wisdom really resonated for me, as what I found that whenever I needed to make decisions, I was really within my head and needing to actually just take that deep breath and really bring my whole self, knowing what I was feeling, actually asking, what is my heart saying? What is this anxiety telling me? and taking myself through those steps of climbing my own inner mountain to feel comfortable with the goals that I've set for myself, decisions that I needed to take. And I think the symbolism of the mountain is also maybe looking back and moving forward, and just having that peace of mind that we can face any challenges that we come across. So thank you.
Thank you, Nazlie. You have made it a personal description through the ICF approach. You started with your own personal experience. So this is what counts. This is the most important thing and the most important part of the whole journey. So congratulations for your work and for your process and for what you presented. As I shared before we started recording, it's not important the tools or the materials that we use. It's important what do you have to share. So we do encourage all the present coaches and students and all the people who are watching this video to take what resonates with you about what Nazlie said, because you gave us a lot of inspiration about different questions and different approaches in the journey from head to heart and then to our belly, to our gut. So including all our being in the coaching process. So thank you very much.
This is our Sunlight Academy. If you want to become a certified life coach and find out more about our accredited coaching education, be part of our global community and learn about our programs, you can visit our website, sunlight.academy, and get in touch with us. We are more than happy to meet you.